welcome back to another of Mr. Khan's Ledger Airy podcasts for Unit 2, Topic 2, Balance Day Adjustments for GST Trading Business. Now, the last podcast was using the Dogesh Trading questions, so this one is going to be a follow-on. And as we know, when you approach some of these questions, you'll be given a trial balance, which will look something like this without the filters on. And from there you'll be given some additional information on your assignment where you'll have to prepare some balance day adjustments. And as we know, those balance day adjustments could be anything from an accrued expense to a prepaid expense to an unearned revenue or an accrued revenue. Now, once you do these balance day adjustments, as per the previous podcast, you have to adjust every individual account for these transactions. So, for example, with this one, we'll be going to increasing our motor vehicle expense by 300 because motor vehicle expense has a debit nature, and with the journal being on the debit side, it'll increase the amount, and also create an accrued expense account in the trial balance. So if we go back to our trial balance here, you'll see here that we've put 300 here and then totaled the original trial balance pre-balance day adjustments to reflect the balance day adjustment in the journal, therefore increasing it to 1,412. And as you can see down here, I've added an accrued expense as well. So after you do your balance day adjustments, adjust your trial balance. And then this is what this VUD class is looking at, transferring and drawing the remaining journals. Now there are going to be 3 remaining journals that you're going to have to do. First one is to transfer all your expenses to a profit and loss summary account, which is what this journal is doing. Then transferring all your revenues to the profit and loss summary account, working out whether you've got a profit or loss, and then also transferring the drawings to the capital account as well. So we're going to do this now. Now these can be in any order, but I'm going to go with transferring all of our expenses. So in order to do that, you go back to your trial balance, go onto your filters, and we are going to click on all of our expenses. And all of our expenses here, as you can see here, are cost of goods sold all the way down to interest expense. So I would copy those over and then over on here. Then transfer all your expenses across as we have done there. If you want to actually make it look pretty to reflect all the other formatting, you can do that. Now the next thing that we need to do is to separately transfer all of our amounts over. There are 2 ways you can actually do it. The easy way, where you actually copy all of your amounts, and then put them on the credit side of the journal here like so. Now the downfall to using this way, and a much easier, quicker way, is that if you actually make a change to your journals or to make a change in your trial balance, it will not actually reflect in here because you're not using cell referencing. So that is one big pitfall that you need to be aware of. Now what we then do is we are going to total all of these up. So we use the auto sum function and we total up all of our expenses. And you also need to check that your formula is also correct. So as you can see here, I've actually left out cost of goods sold. So you need to make sure that you include all of your expenses. Okay, now the reason all your expenses are on the credit side is because at the end of month we need to make sure all our expenses equal 0 in order to proceed into the next month. Okay, because neither revenues nor expenses have any carryover balances. So if you consider your cash at bank, for example, when your bank balance reaches the end of the month, for example, it could be $500, the next day, the 1st of July, you'll always have whatever the preceding balance is, and that being $500. So that applies for your statement of financial position accounts, those being your revenues, your expenses, that being your assets, your liabilities and owner's equity, revenues expenses will have a zero balance at the end of the month, and because you transfer them to the profit and loss summary account. So then we are going to do this for our revenues as well. As you can see here, we've got two revenues, one being sales, the other one being sales returns. Now, as you can see, sales is on the credit side, sales return is on the debit. Okay, so we are going to have a journal which will be debiting the sales to make it equal zero, and also crediting the sales returns to make that equal zero as well. So that's one little trick or pitfall that you might do incorrectly in your assignment. Okay, so we can see here the 166,523 comes from your statement of profit, and then you credit your sales returns to 6,524. Now I've just used automatic cell reference here, so I'll show you how to do that. Press equals and then your amount, and then equals here and your amount here as well. Now to get the 159,999 equals your sales minus your sales returns, and that's how you get that figure. Now the next thing is you need to work out whether we have a profit or a loss. Now as you can see, I've got a little hinter here. If the credit amount in the profit and loss summary, so in other words this amount here is greater than the debit amount, which is this amount here, we have a profit. Okay, and I'm just using some little calculations in Excel. So equals 159,999 minus the 145,268, and that is how much profit we actually have, and that needs to be journaled to the capital account because the owner takes all the profits. Now since it is a profit, that will be on the credit side of our capital account because that will be increasing the capital. As we know, capital has a credit balance, and because profit increases the owner's equity, that is going to go on the credit side. So we're going to debit profit and loss summary for this amount and then credit our capital account. Another way that you can actually check to see that you got the right number is this number here, the 14,731, should also be the same in your statement of profit and loss. And as you can see, it actually does. And then the next one is to transfer our drawings. And it will be how much the drawings is in the trial balance. So we're going to go back to our filters, click that off, and it is 24,600. And so the drawings will reduce our capital because the owner is taking money out of the business. So that is why it is on the debit side of capital and the credit side of drawings, because drawings has a debit nature and we must make it equal zero for at the end of every month. So they are the journals in which to actually finish off all the balance day adjustments. So as a bit of a rehash, as the steps you need to do, you'll be given a trial balance in your exam. So these will all be on a spreadsheet, something similar to that. First step is to work out what type of account they actually are, so whether they're revenues, expense, assets, liabilities, or owner's equity. So I've used R for revenues, E for expenses, L for liabilities, O for owner's equity, and L and A for assets and liabilities. Now, if you don't know what it is, use your textbook or your chart of accounts that I gave to you in class, because this is an assignment. Being open book, you can actually use resources. The next thing to figure out is, of these accounts, which financial statement does it actually go? Does it go to the statement of profit and loss, that being for revenues and expenses only, or does it go to the statement of financial position for assets, liability, and owner's equity? Next thing after that is to do your journals. Now, you don't have to do any of this. Your assignment template might not have all of these columns, but if they do assist you, I would add them in order to obviously assist you and to get the answer correct. The next one is to do your balance day adjustments. So in other words, figure out whether it is an accrued expense, a prepaid, a accrued revenue or an unearned revenue, and to do the journals accordingly. Now, being an assignment, you can naturally assume that you're going to get all 4 of them. Alright, so you need to know how to actually do them and to look at your textbook and also your notes in class for little pointers. So for example, to work out whether it's a prepaid expense or accrued expense, there's going to have to be some form of expense involved. Okay, so and then you got to figure out whether it's an accrued or a prepaid. And as we know, an accrued has keywords such as owing, not paid, and a prepaid has spanning more than 1 month. To work out whether it's an accrued revenue or an unearned revenue, determine whether firstly the account is a revenue, and if it is, accrued revenue will have words like owing or not paid, and unearned revenue will have words like received but not incurred or done the actual work yet. Then reflect in the trial balance all your balance day adjustments and to create accounts for the accrued expense, the prepaid, and also the accrued revenue. From there, work out your ending balances for all of your trial balance ones. So taking into account your balance day adjustments, whether they will increase or decrease the specific accounts, and then provide balances for all of them. So some accounts, for example here, trade debtors, didn't have any balances, so therefore it's just the same balance before the balance day adjustment journals. Step number 4 is to work out and transfer all your expenses to the profit and loss summary account. Step 5, transfer all your revenues to the statement of profit and loss. The profit and loss summary account. Work out whether you've got a profit or a loss using this little formula here, and then transferring your drawings to the capital account. Prepare your statement of profit and loss as per this set out here. Make sure that your net profit equals what you've got in your journal, and then do your statement of financial position using this layout here, making sure your net assets equal your ending owner's equity as well. So they are the tips and for this prac question that you'll have